our unique system of work here at the Luce Center. We have a system that, to our knowledge, no one else in the world is doing. And what we do each day is we have what we call collaboration hours. So we work from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, but we're still full-time employees. So we're working 40 plus most of the time. We work very hard here, and we just use our time flexibly. Welcome back to Gen Z Unplugged. We are so happy to have you all here with us. We hope you enjoyed our episode last week where we talked about all of the ins and outs of 2026, and maybe some of those have even come true for you already. Let us know in the comments. But today we're going to talk about something a little bit different that we haven't really come out about too publicly just yet. And it is about our unique system of work here at the Luce Center. We have a system that, to our knowledge, no one else in the world is doing. And what we do each day is we have what we call collaboration hours. So we work from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, but we're still full-time employees. So we're working 40 plus most of the time. We work very hard here, and we just use our time flexibly. So like I said, we have those collaboration hours from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day. And what our staff will do in those hours in the afternoon is use them to keep working. That's an option. I typically like to continue working into the afternoon or the evening, but a lot of staff will go for a run, go run an errand, go pick up their children from school, and then keep working in the evening or work on the weekends, mornings, anytime that makes sense. And so it allows us to do work in the way that best fits for us. And it really facilitates a family-centered environment where we're prioritizing family while still prioritizing doing great work. And we're going to talk more to all about what the benefits of this system are, and hoping that it'll catch on, because especially in an all-women office, we find it so rewarding, the work that we do, but we're also working creatively and working well. And this has been the most successful year in our history. We've had our largest summits of all time. We've had our largest internships of all time. We had a renovation here. Our events look beautiful. Our social media is off the charts. So everything has just been incredible this year. And I would definitely attribute that to the type of productivity that we have because of these hours. So I'll let you all chat a little bit more about how the system has worked so well.
Yeah, I love the flexibility it provides because, like you said, after 2, we can kind of take off, drive home, maybe grab a coffee on the way there, or grab your kids from school if you have them. And I don't know, I think I'm a lot more productive in the evening. So a lot of time I'll take a couple hours in the afternoon after 2 and just kind of do other things or go on a run. I do a lot of my exercise while the sun is still out, but not in the morning. So that is great for that. And then I pick up my work after dinner and do a few hours then. So I love the flexibility, and I think that has a lot of benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of people. I did work like an 8 to 5 job before this, and there's around a 3 p.m. burnout where everyone in the office felt the exact same way. No one wanted to finish what they were, working on. They were exhausted. They wanted to just go home and close their eyes for 30 minutes, or they need to go run an errand before someplace closed at 5. So people were constantly, that 3 to 5 was so unproductive for the majority of the members of the staff. And it was fascinating when I heard about these hours, because it made so much sense that your mind is working the hardest from 9 to 2, focused on getting major projects, working with others, getting approval for things done right then and there. But then after that, you're able to go, like you said, pick up your kids and go run that errand you needed to do, but also a culture of staff that understand this is a opportunity and a great blessing that we have these hours. So it is a responsibility to make sure that your projects and your work is being completed and done before the due date, which I think has been, within the past year, things are constantly being done early. And I think that is a reasoning, that is an effect of the 9 to 2, where there's multiple studies out that I found that was quite interesting, that people work the hardest in a shorter amount of times. It's very hard for people to work hard and dedicated in a longer amount of time. So I think the 9 to 2, and then if you're an evening person, you can work, that night. There's just an overarching, you'll get your work done that, has to get done. But within the hours of 9 to 2, outside of them, it's kind of up to you how you choose to spend your time, spending time with your family or, working on other things.
Yeah, it genuinely is such a game changer. And I think the biggest difference between a traditional 9 to 5 and what we're doing here at the Luce Center is the mindset. Because I think what happens to people who are working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, is it's like a clock in and clock out mindset where when I'm in the office, I'm on. That's when I do my work. That's when I think about my work. And it makes you at the end of the day want to just clock out again and say, okay, I'm done thinking about that for now, which yes, there's benefit to that. And we talk about that too, like the necessity of breaks and rest and how important that is. But I think what we're doing changes it from, oh, I have to do work in this 8-hour period to I have to do work. I have to do it well, to do it with excellence and integrity, and whatever I need to do to get there, I can do. So it allows you to be flexible and meet these high standards that we have without having that mindset of, oh, I'm just here to clock in and clock out. I think that has been a huge difference for me to experience, because like you're talking about, you get to 3 o'clock and you're just so burnt out. You want to, take a nap, go on a run an errand. So your mind is really distracted. You're just thinking, oh, I could be spending these 2 hours where my brain is burned out to do like what we would refer to more as like shallow tasks. And this is talked about in Cal Newport's book too. Not shallow in the sense that it doesn't mean anything, but it doesn't require deep thought. So you're doing your laundry, you're going to the grocery store, the things that might require like more physical activity and less mental. And like you were saying, people have different productivity levels, and most people it is in the morning. Or at least I think most people can at least train themselves to be in the morning too. I really think the change in mindset to, oh, these are my 8 hours, I did my work, from that to I have these creative hours, I can do the best work possible. So I think that's been hugely beneficial for me.
Yeah. And we know that some people might view that our collaboration hours from 9 to 2 in the office is the time that we work, and the time after 2 p.m. is not working, which it doesn't equal that at all. After 2 p.m. is the time where I get most of my deep work done, that I can focus on the things like projects, like our membership program, where I can really focus on cultivating those relationships and getting things done that I need to get done outside of collaborating with other staff members. And so I do some of my best work after I get a snack, leave the office, get a snack, eat a good slice of sourdough, and sit down and focus on getting something else done that I need to get done for the day. And so we just want to preface that, in the office we work and at home we work. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, because after COVID, we saw a huge increase in remote work and everyone had to shift to that because of the virus. And now we're seeing people really appreciating remote work and wanting that for their future, the rest of their life. And I found a stat online on Strong DM, which said that 97% of remote employees want to continue working remotely until the end of their career. So they never want to go back in the office because of how productive they are. And another stat was 74% of employees feel happier when they work remotely. So I love how, we're taking the positives of working in office, like collaborating with others. I know a lot of people who say that they work remote feel lonely. So we're taking the best of both worlds and merging them together, and the outcome, we could not be any happier.
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly. I love how the hours and just our office in general aligns professional success with personal fulfillment.
Yes.
I think we focus on the whole person and making sure we're all well-rounded, whether that's family or if you need to have time to work out, all these things. Like we combine, like you said, the best of both worlds. And I think that is awesome. I really appreciate it.
And the 9 to 5, there isn't an actual good reason for it aside from well, okay, if you go back in time and you think about before computers existed, you had to work like 40 hours a week is a productive week. And I think that that makes sense, especially as a guideline for a lot of people. So if you have a 40-hour week and there's no computers don't exist, you're pen and paper for everything. You have to be in the office, and it probably takes an 8-hour day, 5 days a week plus whatever you do, whatever's required of you. And you have to actually be in the office because that's where the work gets done. So it makes sense that you'd take a lunch break and then you keep working. Versus now, technology allows us to be able to work anywhere at any time. So the structure that was established after the Industrial Revolution of the 9 to 5 is kind of arbitrary at this point. And there's a lot of jobs that require you to be in person. Like if you work in a secure location or something like that, obviously you have to physically be there. But if your work doesn't require that, if it makes sense for you to go home at 2 and bang out whatever project you've been meaning to working on for 3 hours that evening, 4 hours that evening, that makes way more sense than having to be in the office. Because like we said, being in the office doesn't automatically mean you're being productive, and being out of the office doesn't automatically mean you're being unproductive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And everyone works very differently. Every person is different, and they have different strengths and different weaknesses. So some people's strengths might be, too much noise, people talking, and can't focus. So it gives people the opportunity to work with their strengths that they have to put them in the best environment that they can produce the best. And I think that's something that we do really well here with the collaborative hours.
And it reduces burnout, I think, just to put it frankly. And all three of us are relatively young, starting our careers, like our professional careers. And I think the way we have it here is definitely reducing burnout for long-term professional and even personal growth. I think the way we have it is, drastically reducing that, I would say.
Yeah. And it's great for parents too, because a lot of parents don't want to have to worry about the aftercare or, a nanny, something like that after school. Here, it's so special that at 2 p.m., they can go pick up their child and be with them the rest of the afternoon. And, with nap time or going to bed early, they can finish their things after that. It's just a really special and unique thing that I think works with whatever season of life you're in.
Something that I look forward to is having a child who is maybe doing their homework after school, and then I'm also doing my homework.
I love that.
I think that, and Kimberly would probably talk about that too. It's kind of sweet to be able to do work alongside your family. Because, during that time, and I never want to make a blanket statement, but I think a lot of parents, when their kids do get to be elementary, high school, they end up with more time because you're not doing 100% caretaking all the time. So being able to pick up your daughter or son from 7th grade, go home, and then you're at the kitchen table, you're working on a grant proposal and they're working on fractions or something like that. That's kind of sweet to think about. So I'm really looking forward to that, and being to work with them. And I think it's really helpful for children to be able to see your work, especially mission-oriented work like this in the home, and can see that you don't go to work because, you want to be away or it's all about you, but you go to work because you actually care about something and it's something that really matters. And so kind of the concept of work-life balance, and instead of splitting the two of I work and then I go home and then that's my balance, but bringing your life and your work together so that you can better live out the mission, I think is really nice.
I think another point that is relevant to bring up is how, because we have limited collaboration hours in the office and we work from home afterwards, but because of those limited collaboration hours, our projects move along a lot faster, because we're kind of forced to get those things done. Like, we have to have this meeting between the hours of 9 and 2, and maybe another meeting right after. We have a couple stacked meetings, and in those hours, there's a lot of the productivity and the brainstorming, all these things that actually make the bigger projects happen. And I think an example of that we've had relatively recently was back in our whole Yeti controversy. If you all haven't heard about that, it's pretty easy to actually look up online, CBO Woman and Yeti. But I think when that sort of exploded and we were on Fox and Friends on the main screen of their app. We had a billboard up in Times Square. I think a lot of the reason we were able to take advantage of that so well was because we had those collaboration hours. And I was working with the producer with Times Square, and a lot of that had to get approval from the president. And I think I had to get that done relatively early in the morning to actually be able to move forward and email him later in the day and things like that. So the fact that I had to, get all that done in the morning, and then I can move along with emails later in the day. But I think a lot of our projects kind of work that way, where a lot of the bigger work gets done early on because we have to, because our collaboration hours are limited. And then that in turn boosts productivity across the board.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you think about how long all of that would have taken if you were FaceTiming on Teams.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds so painful. So that's a benefit. Like, we talked about how remote employees really like what they do because it's so productive personally. But when it comes to collaborative work, so much productivity happens when you actually are sitting face to face. I mean, we learned this from COVID. Like, when you're sitting face to face with someone, it is drastically different than trying to communicate, trying to move the needle on anything online. So I think that is a huge benefit of being in person. And then, like, we talked about that aspect of deep work and the concept of getting into that state of flow. And I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about when you experience, like, hours will just go by when you're working, especially for college students. I remember in college thinking, oh my goodness, it's already 4 p.m. and I've been working on this for 2 hours. It's like that state of flow in your mind. So deep work is all about creating an environment for that, where you're alone, where you turn off your email and are just undistracted. So what we do at the Luce Center is we actually have dedicated deep work days where we all are working from whatever location makes sense for us. I usually am at my desk at home with, like, all my snacks. Like, Nika, our events officer, will often go to the Library of Congress, which is super cool. Yeah. So it's fun to see where everybody chooses to do their deep work day. But the key aspect is that it's uninterrupted. Mm-hmm. So we all agree that we're not going to email, we're not going to send Teams messages. And so we just silence notifications and get all of those big projects done. And all of our deep work days, which happen, I would say, at least quarterly, and we'd love to do more of those, but that is the time when I actually get the things done that I've been meaning to get done for weeks. So super valuable.
And I think another cool thing along with deep work is that if you and another staff member have something that you guys both have to get done and it's only you two working on the outcome or the project, deep work days allow you to maybe meet up with that staff member at the coffee shop to, buckle down and, work really hard on finalizing that. So you guys can just focus all of your energy and your flow on a certain thing without the distraction of, other emails, other staff members, other things going on around you, that you're able to just buckle down and get that done.
And I love, after those deep work days, to see everyone's emails coming in, because we have to email and say, like, oh, what we've accomplished that day. I love looking at the emails and being like, this was my most productive day in the past month. Here's all the things I did, with, like, a bunch of bullet points. I'm like, whoa, they accomplished so much today. And then I put mine in the same thing. It's just very interesting how much you can get done with those uninterrupted hours. And I think that's good that it doesn't happen all the time, that we are in the office and we're collaborative and things like that. And then every once in a while, we do have those deep work days where, like you said, the projects that you've been meaning to get done for a while actually get done. So I just like seeing the recaps.
And all of these things just point to kind of the bigger message about work is that we have to be creative. And I think more and more companies should create an environment where you can do work wherever and whenever makes sense, in addition to having those really crucial in-person hours. So that's why I just think this is so special, because the benefit is that we're all together at the same time, and then usually we're all remote at the same time. So you have more of that undistracted time, which is just, it's a fantastic system. And I think it works a lot better than maybe an organization that might do, like, Rachel's remote on Monday, Catherine's remote on Tuesday, because I think what ends up happening is if there's one person who's out of the office, communication gets lost. And you create systems to prevent that, but it makes a lot more sense to have everybody there at the same time and everybody apart at the same time, because then your priorities are a lot more aligned. So I'm a huge fan of that. But I just think that this is part of a movement to just be more creative overall, and especially for when we're talking about women. We talked about our Wall Street Journal article feature a few weeks ago about our collaboration hours, about women who are kind of flipping the script about having to choose between a career and motherhood. This allows a middle ground, which I think is really exciting for us. So we're excited to see where it all takes us. We're also trying to think of better ways to incorporate exercise into our work. Like something we want to start doing is walking meetings, where it's a nice day out, you walk and you talk about whatever project instead of, sitting in a dark office. So there's a lot of areas of growth and we're excited about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode here with us at Gen Z Unplugged. It was so great having y'all back with us. And we hope you enjoyed hearing about our unique collaboration hours, and we look forward to seeing you next week.